You're listening to the Steven Tauriello Show, building a platform of liberty for people in search of truth with a dash of hope and a life worth living. The Steven Tauriello Show. And now, here's Steven.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the show. As always, thank you for tuning in. We have a whole lot of stuff to get to. I'm really strapped on time, so we're going to try and make this quick. First of all, as far as the House Speaker goes, it's a mess. I mean, the articles coming out, I don't think anybody knows what's going on. You know, the leftist media, the Pravda media, they'll put out an article. You know how they do it. It's whoever's first, not accurate. So they'll put out an article completely opposite of what's actually happening. So when you go and look into the situation, you look at right wing, or when you look at right wing media, it is, Emmer has dropped out. There are 6 more people that have gotten back into the race. When you look at the Pravda media, it is, Emmer's just been nominated. It's a freaking disaster. But I do have to say, I don't understand why people are upset about this, because every single day that this Congress is not in session, you save more of your money. Yes, no legislation can get passed in the Republican Party, but what legislation? The very first thing they're going to do is pass a $105 billion aid package to foreign countries. Okay, and maybe they'll scrape off $5 billion for the southern border, but again, just like I said, the southern border doesn't need more funding. All that's going to do is build facilities for the immigrants, and it's just going to pay to bring more officers there to process the people faster. There's nothing you could do to the southern border as long as the Biden administration is still in office, period. Because the Biden administration refuses to follow the laws. So it doesn't make any sense to just add more laws. So other than that, I really don't know what the importance is. The committees are still in action. As far as subpoena power goes, I don't know how that works. But you have to remember, before Matt Gaetz did this, what were they doing? Like, what were the wins they were getting? The American people were not happy with the direction McCarthy was taking the party. Nothing was getting done. They didn't fix the debt. They didn't fix they didn't do nothing. If anything, they made things worse. And so this is exactly what democracy is supposed to be about. This is, I'm telling you, the framers of this country would be extremely proud of us right now. This is democracy. This is what democracy looks like. These people in the House, they're freaking out. They haven't had to do their actual job in decades, since the 90s. So they have no idea really what to do. These people have been sitting back with their feet kicked up for so long when they actually have to do what they were sent there to do. They run around like chickens with their heads cut off. The point is it is very important that we get a conservative speaker. Why? Because we are prepping the stage for Donald Trump. That needs to be the goal right now. It doesn't make any sense to get a rhino in there, and so when Donald Trump gets into the White House, he can't get anything through because he's going to be getting stabbed in the back again, just like the last Republican House. So the idea is to get somebody conservative. We are essentially lining up our chips right now. We're lining our ducks in a row. That's what we need to be focused on. Getting a conservative speaker will allow Donald Trump to get the legislation through that he needs to get through. Getting somebody like Tom Emmer in there isn't going to do anything, but it'll be exactly like when the Republicans had the House during the last Trump administration. It'll be nothing but stabs in the back. It'll be nothing but knives in the back. There'll be no border wall. He won't be able to get anything done. This is essentially the Rhino Party, the donors, the special interests, the people across the street, against the American people. The reason why it's taking so long and they have to do these private votes and they have to go home, they're not going home to their constituents. They're going across the street to the donors and special interests to see what kind of deals they can get. People have to understand that our system is broken. The parties are broken. There is no Republican Party, Democrat Party. The whole system is broken. The two-party system is broken. There is only the uniparty, and you have some outliers. You have conservatives, and the conservative movement is growing. Okay, the America First movement. Okay, we are not the merchants of chaos like the media want us to be. They are the merchants of chaos. They have put this country in a state of decline for the last 50 years. So I don't want to hear about how Republicans are merchants of chaos when we're actually trying to get stuff under control so that we can get our country back. And you have to remember, like I said, we're actually doing them a favor because these people don't realize that they're so brainwashed and they're such drones that they sit and, they get upset about the House not being in order and about how Congress can't do anything and they're at a stalemate. Good. Because as soon as these people get in, there goes another $100 billion and up goes inflation, up goes interest rates. It's going to be okay. All right. The goal is to get a conservative speaker. So, all right. As far as right now, I found this good article by a guest contributor on the Gateway Pundit. And it's from Representative Keith Self. And it says, how was Jordan, founder of House Freedom Caucus and the nation's second most popular conservative, blocked by the Republican Party? This is exactly what I was just talking about. The rhinos. These people are all self-invested. They are only in this for themselves, I promise you. People like Emmer, McCarthy, McConnell, the whole group. You guys know who they are. The rhinos. The Liz Cheneys, the Mitt Romneys, all of them. They're all in this. I've been saying this since we started the show. There is a club that these people have created for themselves. Okay? You're not invited. You have to buy your way in. And once you're in, you're in. And if you're out, you're out. And they do not like anybody crashing their party. They do not like outsiders. This is why both parties, the Uniparty, hates Donald Trump. Hates him with a passion. Why? Because they see Donald Trump as their biggest threat. And listen, they got their party, they got their club, and they don't want to lose it. And Donald Trump is the biggest threat to that club. So, Representative Keith Self says, I've been reflecting on the defeat of Jim Jordan for Speaker of the House. How was Jordan, the founder of the House Freedom Caucus and the second most popular conservative in the nation, blocked by the Republican Party? I can tell you. He was a threat to the swamp. Boom! Yes, America lost to the swamp again. Hill reporters who live and breathe on Washington speculation quickly chalked up the defeat to differences and preferences within the Republican conference. However, those in the grassroots realize that Jordan's defeat represents something far greater, something that has been building for a long time. Jordan was a threat to the system, aka the traditions, the hierarchy, and the old guard beliefs ingrained in Congress to protect the Washington elites who control money and power with no intention of relinquishing either. To the system, known to many as the establishment, Jordan represented the thousands of Americans who lit up Washington's phone lines last week demanding real change, perhaps the most frightening possibility to the establishment. While admittedly it was dismaying to witness the Republican conference block Jordan from becoming Speaker of the House, I looked at the situation from a wider lens and things appeared quite different. In fact, it was stunning to see just how far the conservative movement has come. I agree. Bravo. This is what people need to realize. A month ago, it was business as usual. This is why I don't get all upset about this stuff. A month ago, it was business as usual. And now, look how far the conservative movement has come. We have essentially cut the head off the snake. We have made real changes in our Congress. Real changes. You did. I did. We did. Right here behind this microphone. Right on your cell phone. We made change. We came together. This is exactly what democracy is supposed to look like. I'm telling you right now, if they were here today, the framers would be extremely proud of the process that we're going through right now. And it's unfortunate that the Rhino Republicans can't enjoy it and can't see what's going on because they're so self-invested. They have so much money riding on the line. They have so many donors. This is how these people get elected. Like I said, you have to buy your way into the party. You have to buy your way into the club. And so these people have been, getting donations and special interests and lobbyists and donors. It's all a corrupt system that's been around for decades. And so when these people see change, they hate it. And so you have to realize that this is exciting. To me, it's exciting. I don't get down and out on this stuff. I'm not freaking out. Everyone needs to chill out. Because like I said, what is the rush? The investigations, the Joe Biden investigations, that's going to happen regardless. No committees are going anywhere. It's all going to happen regardless. The media, this is why I always say that the media is now a arm of the administrative state. The media is now political media. It is state-run media. So the media will get their viewers all in a tizzy. They'll get their viewers all worked up saying, oh, we have to get somebody in there. This is just chaos. We must do it now. They can't even pass legislation. This is nuts. No, it's not. It's nuts to them because they are part of the system too. Okay? It's not, we don't have a media that speaks truth to power anymore. Our media works for the government now. This is why you see the media and the government as revolving doors. You notice how you see so many former congressmen, former politicians on media outlets now? It's one giant system that they have connected together to manipulate the people into thinking what they want them to think. And so they want you to think that this is chaos. They want you to think this is, it's bad for the country. They want you to think that this is no good. This is perfectly fine, ladies and gentlemen. This is exactly what the framers wanted us to do. And we are doing it. It's actually amazing. Now, does that mean Emmer's not going to get in? I don't know. I have no idea. This is what is going on inside the marble halls of that building is truly incredible. You have Congress people throwing fists at one another. You know, our framers used to duel when they I don't know if a lot of people knew this, but back in the day, our framers were fierce. They were fierce about the bills and the principles and the values that they held. They were so fierce that they would actually challenge people. They would challenge each other to duels where they would literally go out in the back and shoot at each other. So listen, throwing a couple fists, getting all worked up, getting angry, that's exactly how it's supposed to be. This is why you need fighters. We need to elect fighters in our party. Not some weak-kneed, yellow-belly cowards that are afraid to do anything and just want to be the controlled opposition. We need real leaders, people ready to go in there and fight on behalf of us, because that's exactly what we would do, and that's exactly why we elected him to do it. And so this guy's exactly right. It is very stunning to see just how far the conservative movement has come. Just look 6 years ago, 8 years ago. Look how far this movement has come. And like I said, the framers would be extremely proud. All right, back to the article. I can see how far it has come because I could still see myself standing at Preston Road in Plano, Texas, at one of the original Tea Party rallies in 2009. It was during this movement that Americans across the nation headed to the street corners to wave flags, gathered at rallies, and lit up the phones across Washington, D.C., demanding the need for our leaders to shed us of taxation without representation. That same spark I saw in the Tea Party has burst into the flame I witnessed at the beginning of the 118th Congress, my first term. In January, a flare was sent up by a group I was a part of. You may know them as the 20. We call them the Brave 8 or the Brave 20, the Patriotic 20, the people that we've been behind this entire time. A new era of conservatism has landed on the beaches of Capitol Hill, and frankly, I'm not sure Washington was ready for us. We banded together and succeeded in obtaining a strong rules package with requirements like budget rules, single-issue bills, and having 72 hours to review legislation. Common sense to us, inconvenient to the Washington politicians. This rules package was the first step towards changing the trajectory of Washington, and by that, I include the establishment ways of thinking. Tired strategies from the 90s and a strong aversion to out-of-the-box ideas. Again, Washington wasn't ready for us. Since January, a fierce boldness has spread in the House Republican Conference. The establishment is starting to realize it cannot count on all of us to kiss the ring and vote. In May, 71 Republicans bucked House leadership and listened to the American people, voting against an unacceptable debt ceiling deal. In September, 90 Republicans again left the ranks and voted against the 45-day clean government funding bill. Bottom line, the two major bills that made it from the House to the Senate and ultimately were signed into law by Joe Biden required Republicans to get Democrat votes. This is not the PR the ruling class wants. Because of the conservative movement that I believe is rising across America. More leaders are emboldened to ask the tough questions, even of our own party. What have Republicans accomplished this year? By asking the tough questions and bringing forward real debate, the establishment is no longer able to operate in the shadows. Lines are emerging, and it's becoming crystal clear to the American people who is working for them and who is out for themselves. No one can promise that setbacks will not happen. Those who have long held power will fight back, but I and a small band of Republican conservatives remaining in the House will continue our efforts to move our nation forward. I believe we are witnessing the emergence of a profound movement that crosses political lines. Rejoice in that hope and fight on. Bravo. Bravo, Keith Self. Look, he's exactly right. This is real change. And I got to be honest, folks, I am noticing leftist Democrats that want change too. Both parties want change. It is the end result we do not agree on. Both parties know that the two-party system's a failure. Both parties know that the government's a failure and wasteful. Both parties know that there's corruption in our government. It's how we get there we don't agree on. It is the end result we don't agree on. And these people are starting to see that there is a real bipartisan effort to get change in our politics. Why? Because we could see the country going off a cliff. I've said this quote before, but Winston Churchill, he showed a great appreciation in the American people. He said something along the lines of he really appreciated the United States and he admired the United States because every time it seemed like the country was going over a cliff, the American people always found a way to pull it back over. And he's exactly right. We, as the American people, are doing exactly what we should be doing. We're getting involved. We're calling phone numbers. We're writing in to Supreme Court justices. I wrote my first letter to the Supreme Court of the United States for the first time 2 weeks ago. The American people see that we are going into very, very dark days in this country, and the American people are fierce citizens of this country. We are fighters. There is no doubt about it. We value the fight. We love this country, most of us. And look, the radical left, they hate this country, but they still understand that their politics are garbage. They still understand that government's trash. They understand, and let me tell you something. As we move forward with this movement of fixing our party, fixing the way that our party does business, the Democrats are going to catch on, and they're going to start giving their party a run for their money too. Because this is the real change, and this is how you bring independence on. This is why I've been saying from day one of this fight that this is a real opportunity for Republicans to take advantage of. Because what it would show the regular American, the independent, the person that doesn't vote either way, but just goes to the voting booth, pulls a lever for whoever appears to be more willing to do what needs to be done to make their life better. That's who they pull the lever for. And so what they're going to think about is, okay, well, which party is actually conducting change? Which party is trying to get this country back the most? Which party is firing their speakers? Which party is blowing up the phone lines? Which party has been fighting one another for 3 weeks trying to decide on a conservative speaker? That would be the Republican Party. The reason why Democrats stick together, it's the mindset. These people have no principles. They have no values. So because they have no principles or values, it's malleable. All of their values and principles are malleable. They can change them whenever they want. And so if they need to get to a common goal, they all stick together. They don't, like I said, they don't believe in anything. And so they will stick together to move the party forward. That is what they do. Republicans and conservatives are not the same at all. In fact, we stick to our principles hardcore. Like, we stick to our principles hard. And because of that, we don't agree on everything. Like, we agree where we want to take this country. Like, conservatives and Republicans agree what the country should look like. We agree on what the country used to look like. It's just we don't necessarily have the same interests, and I'm trying to think of the motivation. Okay, the rhinos in the Republican Party, their one interest is to get elected, and then after that is to get reelected. And the only way they can get reelected is with money. This is why it's so bad that money has become such a huge factor in our democracy, in the way that we run our elections. Because now everybody's incentivized by just making money the entire time. And so what happens? They make deals with donors. They make deals with special interests and lobbyists. This is what happens. And because of that, the American people are sidelined. Their elections are prioritized over the American people. I agree with Keith Self here. I think what we're watching right now is exactly what the framers had in mind. And even though the Rhino Republicans don't agree with it, they do see change on the horizon. I'm telling you right now, these people are shocked. They are shocked that you have been calling in. They are shocked that you have been writing your congressman. They are absolutely terrified that the American people have caught on to their gig. And the Uniparty sees something coming on the horizon. They just don't know what it is yet. This is why they need to cut the head off the snake. Cutting the head off the snake would be getting rid of Donald Trump. This is why they want to obliterate Donald Trump. Not just Democrats, both sides. The establishment, the Washington establishment swamp, must get rid of Donald Trump because he is the leader of the Make America Great Again movement. And so they think, this is where they're very wrong, they think it's Donald Trump leading this charge. But what they don't realize, that we're in this to win it. With Trump, without Trump. There was one thing that I noticed Donald Trump did, and this is why he'll go down as the most influential president in United States history, is that he brought the people together in a way that I have never seen in my entire life. And it was a weird phenomenon because at the time I was a Democrat. And when Donald Trump announced that he was running, because I just got completely screwed by Barack Obama, I got completely screwed by the Democrat Party. They left me politically homeless. And Donald Trump came along and started saying the things that I was thinking. And then, time went on. And then I started hearing other people saying things that I was thinking. And then I'm like, whoa, this seems like a pretty fun place. Let's go check this place out. And so I walk in. Metaphorically, obviously, I walk into this tent and it is just one giant, huge party where people are having fun, people are loving, people are caring. These people would give the shirts off their back. It was the forgotten man and woman. It was the patriots of this country, where most of their family members are buried in Arlington Cemetery. Most of their family members served in some type of military branch. It was so incredible to see the people that were brought together in this party. I guess you could call the MAGA movement, what the Democrats would call MAGA extremists. It is a tent full of people that just love this country and love what the country used to be and sees that this country is heading towards a dark place and would be willing to give their own lives if necessary to keep that from happening. And what is even better about this giant tent is that the doors are open for everybody, and anybody can come in and everybody can be a part of this family. It's the problem is with the Republican Party is our ideas of how to get there. That is it. We all want a common goal. We all have a common goal. It's just how do we get there is the thing that we don't agree on. Most of us do, most of us don't. And so that's why a lot of people look up to Donald Trump, but Donald Trump has already essentially done his job. Donald Trump did exactly what he was sent here to do, and that was, believe it or not, to unite the party and to get something started that's not going to stop until we get this country back. He started something that the American people see as a way of getting their country back. And the more we fight to get the country back, the more change that happens. And the more change that happens, the more enticing it looks to other people like independents. I have to say, I wouldn't be surprised if there's more independents that vote for Donald Trump in this election than any time in U.S. history. Because if you're standing on the outside of the tent looking in, it just looks fun. You see everybody laughing, cheering, having fun, helping each other out, smiling, and then you look to your left and you see the Democrat Party, and they're all just mad and angry and snarking at each other and having to worry about if they're saying the right pronouns or not. And if somebody says something wrong, they get kicked out to the curb, and it's just not fun. It's boring. It's intolerant. And then you look across the street at the Make America Great Again tent, and you see people drinking beers, and then you see a guy on the outside, and he waves you over, so you walk over, he hands you a beer, and he's like, hey, man, let's have fun. Hey, man, welcome to the party. Like, that is what it seems like. That is exactly what the feeling is. And I see this tent getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it is. And the tent is so big now that there are so many people involved and so many people activated that it's actually starting to make real change. Just like the Tea Party movement that Keith Self was talking about, I wasn't part of the Republican Party then. So, I wasn't a part of that, but from what I hear, this is very similar, but even bigger. And so it's not, and Donald Trump wasn't around in 2009. So like I said, Donald Trump, this is not, they got it all wrong. The Uniparty, the Washington Swamp has it all wrong. They think they have to defeat Trump and cut the head off the snake, and then it's just going to stop. It's not. There is something much, much greater going on here, and I think it's just incredible. And like I said, don't fret. If we don't get this win, if we don't get a conservative, I personally like, there are 6, like I said, based off the articles that I'm reading, it's really confusing. It's kind of hectic right now. You have so much stuff coming out. But there, I guess, as of 5:30 p.m., there were 6 GOP lawmakers that jump into speaker race after Trump scalps Emmer. So real quick, let's just go through this article. So a batch of new GOP lawmakers have jumped into the race for House Speaker after Trump scalped Rhino Emmer. Emmer dropped out of the race for House Speaker on Tuesday after Trump lit him up in a Truth Social post. President Trump on Tuesday lashed out at Tom Emmer from Minnesota just hours after he was nominated for House Speaker. 26 Republicans vowed to vote against Emmer in a full House floor vote for Speaker. Trump piled on and blasted Emmer as a globalist rhino, and I have to agree. Emmer he's a snake. He is a rhino, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't support Trump. He never did. And then right before he was going to throw his hat in the ring, he called Donald Trump to just shoot the breeze. And from what I've gathered from people that were there, it was a very brief conversation. And then right after Emmer hung up the phone, he tweets out that, him and Donald Trump talked and worked things out. Well, apparently that's not at all what happened. And I have a quote here from Donald Trump. Here is his truth. Here is his truth post. He said, quote, I have many wonderful friends wanting to be Speaker of the House, and some are truly great warriors. Rhino Tom Emmer, who I do not know well, is not one of them. He never respected the power of a Trump endorsement or the breadth of scope of MAGA, the Make America Great Again. He fought me all the way and actually spent more time defending Ilhan Omar than he did me. He is totally out of touch with Republican voters. I believe he has now learned his lesson because he is saying that he is pro-Trump all the way, but who can ever be sure? Has he only changed because that's what it takes to win? The Republican Party cannot take that chance because that's not where the America First voters are. Voting for a globalist rhino like Tom Emmer would be a tragic mistake, Trump said on Truth Social. Trump's camp blast texted House Republicans the scathing Truth Social post trashing Emmer in an effort to put the final nail in the coffin. Emmer dropped out of the race because he knew he was in an uphill battle going into a floor vote with 26 GOP holdouts. Emmer knew he couldn't get the 217 votes needed to win the gavel after Trump's scathing social media post. At 5:30 p.m., the deadline announced candidates for House Speaker. The following are the officially announced candidates to the House Republican Conference. You have Byron Donalds from Florida, Chuck Fleischman from Tennessee, Mark Green from Tennessee, Kevin Hern from Oklahoma, Mike Johnson from Louisiana, and Roger Williams from Texas. All of these, as far as I know, are pretty hardcore conservatives. And I think any one of these would be a good pick. The only two that I really know for sure would be good is Byron Donalds and Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson is a hardcore warrior. He is a freaking Viking for the conservatives, man. He is a constitutional lawyer, and he is awesome. And Elise Stefanik tweeted out this at 5:30. The deadline has announced candidates for Speaker candidate forum at 6 p.m. Officially announced candidates to the House Republican Conference include, okay, according to Congress reporters, everyone is buzzing about Mike Johnson of Louisiana. There are some concerns about Mike Johnson of Louisiana, according to Punchbowl News. Two Louisianians in leadership. He's already in leadership. The right doesn't like this, and moderates might flinch at some of his policy preferences. And so, yes, anytime you see moderate Republicans, the rhinos, not supporting somebody, that means they're conservative, period. Because, like I said, we're up against the rhinos. And so any one of these candidates would be great, but again, you never know what's going to happen. It is, ladies and gentlemen, it is crazy up in there. And like I said, the framers would be extremely proud of us right now. So take a bow. You did this. So no matter what the end result is, whether it's Emmer, whether it's a rhino, you put these people in place. You put the Washington establishment in check. These people now see a movement that's growing that they do not have control over like they normally do. They're trying. They're trying with Fox News. They're trying with the media. They are trying their damnedest. But they know this is coming whether they like it or not. And so this is the American people getting their country back. And I think this is exactly the type of stuff that Winston Churchill was talking about when he said he really admired the United States because the American people always seem to save the country right when it seems like it's going to fall off the cliff. So I think that's great. There's so much more stuff we got to get into, but I'm running out of time. I just wanted to get on here and say that. It is a mess right now. At this moment, I have no idea what's going to happen. And despite what the Democrats may say on Twitter, the MAGA Republicans, the conservatives, are not the minority of the Republican Party. It's actually opposite. And so if you get on Twitter and you see the leftists saying, oh, well, why is the minority dictating what the majority does? No. The conservative Republicans, the conservatives, the MAGA conservatives, they are the majority of the party now. You see this all over the media. You even heard CNN talking about it the other day. I mean, they don't say it quite like I said it. They say it in terms of it's really scary. Like, you'll have somebody like Emmer, you'll have a rhino come on MSNBC, like a Chris Christie or somebody will come on there and say, oh, it's just really scary how the Trump MAGA extremists are taking over the Republican Party. That's how they'll say it. But this is a good thing. Why is it a good thing? Because conservatives know that we need to get back to single-issue bills. The Washington establishment can no longer create this ginormous monstrosity of a bill and just cram all kinds of stuff in it and then give people 2 days to vote on it, and the American people are stuck flipping the bill. No, they can't do that anymore. This is exactly what McCarthy promised he was going to do and didn't do it. And he actually did the exact opposite. He thought he was going to do business as usual. No. That didn't happen. Matt Gaetz came in and put an end to that. Matt Gaetz is probably, I know it seems like he's a destroyer. I listen to right-wing podcasts. I listen to other podcasters. And they are accusing Matt Gaetz of being some kind of crap starter, some kind of firebrand and bomb thrower, all that stuff. Matt Gaetz is doing exactly what his constituents asked him to do. Matt Gaetz went in there and got rid of leadership and gave the ability to change the course this country was going in back to the American people. That's all he did. And that's because if not, folks, it was just going to be business as usual. We were going to go into more debt. There was going to be another continuing resolution probably around December, January. We were going to be funding another, and it was just the continuation of the decline that the Uniparty has put this country in for the last 30 years. Matt Gaetz put an end to that. And now this is exactly what democracy looks like. It's how democracy works, folks. This is exactly what the founders wanted us to do. And this is exactly what the founders expected out of Republicans and the representatives for the people. So this is a constitutional republic. This is a constitutional republic with representative democracy. That's what this is. And we're doing exactly what we should be doing. So chins up, chests out, we're doing pretty good. And remember, no matter what happens, we made a huge dent into the Uniparty this past 2 weeks. So you should really give yourself a pat on the back, take a bow, and we'll see where the rest of this plays out. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be releasing another show tomorrow. I figured since I didn't do any news today other than the House Speaker race, I'm going to release another show tomorrow. So make sure you tune in. I'm going to try and release a show every day. It's just really difficult because, I work. I'm not, I wish I was a podcaster that could just sit at home and make content all day. That would be great. Trust me, this show would be off the hook if I could sit at home and just make content all day. I can't, unfortunately, because my family comes first. I have to support my family. And, like I said, I'm a regular working class just like you. I got bills, I got a mortgage, all that stuff. I just dedicate 100% of my spare time into creating content and just informing the American people, giving my opinions on the latest news, culture, politics. It's because I feel like it's the least I can do. It is my way of contributing something to this battle. I'm not a politician. I can't go in and vote on behalf of the American people. The only thing I could do is just talk to you, talk to my fellow Americans, and blast this show all over social media. And look, at the end of the day, if it just sways one person's mind, if it just sways one person from voting for a Democrat, then everything I've done in the last 6 months has been justified. That's why we're here. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you for tuning in. I want you guys to have a good day. Have a great week. Remember, keep your chin up. God bless you. God bless America. You guys have a good day. Bye-bye.